If you're watching this for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't, give consideration to liking my video, smashing the like button, smashing the subscribe button so you're notified when I'm online, when I'm live streaming like this. If you want to send me trending topics, send it to Food Channel 1960 or any stories that you'd like me to work on, hopefully that we can learn from. Send it to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. You can find my email address at the bottom of this video in the description part of the video, right? Bang me your stories. And Yafoa, what's up? What's going on, people? Happy holidays, man. So, let's get this story started, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Like I normally say, if you haven't, smash the subscribe button, select the bell button, and select the all option so you're notified when I'm online, when I'm live streaming like this, okay? Send me your stories, So, yes. Happy holidays once again. Let's get the show cracking. So, this one is, what's up, Collins? This one is fairly hot, okay? Very hot story. The brother involved in this story sent it across to me, and he said, Phrankleen, I'm currently dealing with this in my marriage, and I'd like you to talk about it. And as I say, if you send me your story or somebody else's and stuff, I usually make the entities, I make them anonymous. Sometimes I may have to tweak the storyline a bit if somebody asks me to conceal, the pattern, and so that they don't suspect that they've told me the story, all right? Compliments of the season. Excuse me. Right. So, these brother said he's married with 3 kids with his sister, the Nigerian couple. They live here in the UK. Now, so he said over time, like most couples, everyone's got their imperfections and perfections, whatever you want to call it. What's up, Lino? And Dolo, what's going on, people? Now, he said over time, when it comes to issue of finance between him and his wife, basically he is the guy that sort of gravitate towards, let's put money into this, let's put money into that. But sometimes wife is a bit, kind of laid back by nature, or sometimes she just doesn't want to know. But he says when the soup is ready, if he goes ahead and does something, then she wants to reap the benefit of whatever effort he has put into a particular investment. But if he calls and say, let's sort of collaborate, let's join finances and put money into this, she basically hasn't got the entrepreneurial mindset. Now, I'm trying to be fair. I'm a believer in something, okay? Not every human has the entrepreneurial streak in them. Some people, they enjoy operating in the comfort zone. Like if they're getting money on a monthly basis, mentally they're comfortable. Now, the comfort zone isn't exactly great, but some people are like that. They are followers. They like when they have a set pattern of existence. So for people with entrepreneurial mindset, there is a beast mode in them. They're ready to dive in. They're ready to get their hands dirty. If they have this much in resource, they're ready to take risks. They're ready to jump off the edge of the cliff and things like that. And then, and of course, that's not to suggest that you go into investments blindly or anything. I'm just talking about nature and mindsets and all that. And having said that, that's why some people are able to create jobs. Some people will always work in roles and stuff, and I believe everyone's got their places in the society, right? Some will be employers, some will be employees, some will be job creators, They'll be the ones to put bread on the table for hundreds and thousands of people. Such is life. So anyway, there was an instance when, this is before the pandemic started. This brother said he had, what's up, Rita? What's up, everybody? Smash the like button. If you can hear me, you can see me. If you haven't, follow me on Instagram at Phrankleen, just as it's spelled on my channel. Now, so this brother said there was a point in time when he sat with his wife. He had the idea of importing Nigerian foods from Nigeria. He was going to go into groupage. Like groupage means sharing like a 40-foot or 20-foot container space with some other people. So he said he had a friend of a friend that kind of showed him that you can bring in certain dry foods, and then you can go to like the Pakistani shops and whatnot and maybe package it. I mean, there are people that already do that, but there's always room, you know. So he said he had the whole thing mapped out, but at the point in time, it wasn't great with money, right? So he said wife had about roughly 15 or 16,000 pounds in savings, right? So he approached his wife. He had all the ideas, and then I think at some point he traveled to Nigeria. He was able to source local suppliers of things like dried shrimps, bear, blended crayfish, melon, egusi, the food seasoning like the Maggies and the Knorrs and all that stuff, right? So anyway, he managed to, through the help of the friend of a friend, the guy kind of showed him how to get into the business of bringing in Nigerian food and supplying the high street, retailers who like mostly the Pakistani, shops or some of the other Nigerian food shop owners without necessarily owning or dealing with the full responsibility of owning a food shop himself. He can package it from back home, get his pallets to come to the UK, and then he can be supplying and get his money on a weekly basis, which is a brilliant idea. Now, anyways, he approached his wife. His wife had a savings, like I said, of roughly about 15,000. He said nearly 16,000 pounds, 1/6 in savings, right? So he showed her the A to Z of what he was working with. She was aware and all of that. So he asked his wife for a bit of money to start with a group page and start off with like 2 pallets and all that. So he said, wife completely refused. But it wasn't in an acrimonious manner, like they got in arguments or anything. No. She just said, I don't, I want to, I've got plans to do this and this and this. She showed him, and then he said, okay, babe, I know. Okay, maybe you can lend me like 4 or 5,000 pounds, or maybe a bit more. So he gave her like, what's it called? Like a breakdown of precisely what he needed the money for, which was, buying the goods and all that. And then, inclusive of shipping and all that. He wanted to start off with roughly 5,000 pounds. So he said, babe, this is how I'm going to go about it. And, even you can put money, I'll pay you back whatever you give me. Now, husband and wife, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's not unusual that you turn to your partner and ask for help. Of course, depending on the type of relationship, if you're a reliable person, if you're good with money, but it's not unusual that you would ask your partner for money, right? So the brother said he showed his wife the blueprint of the whole, the whole thing, the business idea and all that stuff. And then the wife reluctantly said, nah. So he kind of left her for like a couple of weeks. He carried on as normal. And so he made it clear that he previously, he had a few commitments. So he was at a point where he was really, really adjusting his finance. And what does that mean? He had a few credit cards he was paying off. He was trying to get himself out of debt. So he had a couple of loans and he was more than halfway through. So these really caught into, his income. He said his wife was fully aware. In fact, some of the loans, she had benefited from that as well. So, but he didn't, according to the email, he said, Franklin, I didn't take this personally, even though I felt sad, but I don't have a belief in, because somebody's your partner and you got to be able to strike a balance so it doesn't look like you have a sense of entitlement. He said he didn't want his marriage to break and all that. So he's the friend of a friend that showed him the business, expected him to start, bringing in food from Nigeria. So they met one night, they were socializing somewhere in North London. And the guy said, dude, like, what's going on? I said, bro, I'm going to have to leave the idea on the shelf for now because I haven't got funds, to be able to start, but hopefully very soon. So the guy said, okay, cool, no worries. If you need anything, let me know. So they had a good night, they drank and stuff, and he left it. So he carried on working. I said, okay, hopefully if I'm able to raise money, I can go back into it, right? So for the last time, he approached his wife like, oh, dear Jonah, please, I won't let you down. This is it, this is it. If I bring in X amount of this, babe, I'll pay you back. I promise. Should I sign an agreement? He said, I offered, and she said, no, I don't want to, this, you're asking me, you're pestering me. And then she used the term, you're repeatedly ignoring my position, and it's like you're subjecting me to emotional blackmail. So the guy said, he was like, wow. Said, I wasn't thinking that way, but like, if you feel that way, forgive me. So he stopped asking her. He stopped talking about the money and they left it. They carried on as normal, as husband and wife. So dude then changed jobs at some point that took him into contracting environment. And this was before the IR35 kicked in the UK and all that. Through the help of certain friends. So getting into the contract role, given his background as somebody that was already had a good career path. So that elevated his income, his earnings, right? So of course, because of the jump in earnings as a contractor, he didn't have to bug his woman no more. But of course, we're humans. This was heavy on his heart. For reasons best known to him, he felt like, wow, you couldn't even help me with half of the money. I'm trying to build something here that we will all benefit from. But then she insisted she's got plans for her money. You can't hold the woman for that. Right. So he went 6 months into the contracting and he was able to raise substantive amount of money. And on these contract role, this new job, of course, he met, few brand new set of colleagues. And from there, a couple of friends, he said a couple of Nigerian guys were working in the same organization, bang in the middle of, somewhere in central London. And one thing led to another. He had no clue about cryptocurrency investments and things like that. But sometimes Friday after work, such and such is getting married. You form new friends, start getting to know them. And particularly if you make friends with people with healthy mindset, people that will create a mental springboard for you to get propelled to the next level, is usually fantastic. So there were a couple of non-Nigerian guys who were Asian background as well. And the long and short was they were privy to the great benefits of crypto. This guy only heard of cryptocurrency maybe off YouTube and all that. He had zero clue. So anyways, they kind of like were babysitting him and, telling him, go and read this, check out his websites, go read about blockchains and things like that. Pretty much how so many people found out about cryptocurrency. Depends on the crowd that you move with, right? So anyways, he developed interest, started reading. He said sometimes late at night, he would spare like an hour and a half, 2 hours. He'd go on YouTube, They created a WhatsApp group with his friends. So he was looking, grew his appetite, right? And let me put a disclaimer. Cryptocurrency, whilst known to make plenty of people become millionaires, there is also countless number of people that have lost money. I think the best advice is know what you're doing, have proper knowledge, don't buy into hype. He said, she said, they said. Some people have made a ton of money out of sheer luck or having somebody that held their hands and was able to guide them, and they took the leap of faith and it played out nice for them. I've personally seen people that made a ton of money from cryptocurrency, and at the time that they made the money, they didn't have much knowledge, but they cashed out nicely. So, but just make sure that you don't buy into hype. You know precisely, understand the process, gain rudimentary understanding to possibly advanced knowledge before you throw your hard-earned money, right? Hard-earned money. You get where I'm coming from. So anyways, as I was saying, through the help of the guys at work, dude was able to invest. There were certain cryptos that, based on understanding candlesticks and charts and a lot of background and all that, he took the leap of faith, and he said two particular ones he rammed his savings in. He didn't bother talking to his wife about it because he knows her. If he goes home and talk to her about cryptocurrency, he knows exactly what her reaction. I don't want to hear it. And given the fact that it was new for him, he decided to go solo, right? And he put, he was getting good money from the new role. He was every month, he was ramming his money. I mean, reasonable amount of money into it. So anyways, months went past and the cryptocurrency investment did very, very well. And this guy decided to sell a third of his portfolio. Did you hear what I said? Just a third, a fraction of his, of his investment. And he cashed out the said amount, over £180,000, plus, in profit, straight profit. That's just a fraction of his investment. So meaning he still got a huge lump sum in his portfolio. Now, this is where the problem started. Yeah, he made, thank you, Lionel, he made 186,000. That's just from selling a fraction of his portfolio, right? Now, dude go excited. Told who? Share the good news with who? Guess who? Guess who? Guess who? I want you guys to guess. Who's like the first person that he would share that good news? His wife. Great. So that basically, that didn't go down well. Now, he told his wife, he was excited, he cashed out and shared with the wife. Of course, his friends know, they all did well. Babe, check this out. I made this, crypto, blah, 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 blah. I put X amount of money. I this, blah, 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 blah. Lionel. So he said, the wife was like, what? You said, yeah, I only sold a fraction of my portfolio, 180 something thousand pounds. This, we're made. Dude's happy, right? And then the wife, he said he noticed that wife just got kind of cold. And he's like, what's up? And she was just like, oh, so why didn't you tell me so that I could have put money? And the guy goes, no, I didn't want to bother you. It wasn't a case of concealing. You always say you have your own plans, for your own money, and there are X number of evidences around that, right? So, anyway, they moved away from that conversation, and then days later, wife said, so are you going to spend £186,000 by yourself? So he said, what do you mean? They were eating, sat at the dining table. And then she was like, wait, so 186, oh, but you've got your wife, you've got your children. And then the emotional blackmail started from there. So it was like, wait, I know that I've got my wife and kids. Yeah, so what are your plans for the money? So he got a bit pissed and then said, what do you mean, what are my plans for the money? Why are you applying pressure? So the guy goes, okay, so you're going to have all this money. Okay, you're not going to treat your wife. And he goes, if you're talking about treat, I'm looking to recycle my money into, not necessarily back into crypto or that portfolio, but I'll treat you, I'll treat the family and stuff. Anyway, they drifted away from that. 4 days later, after that conversation, she then came back and said, normally, I think you should give me like 30 to 40K, even let's call it a round figure of £50,000. You said you sold a fraction of your portfolio, so that means you still got a lot of money. That's for me. She said about 40 to 50,000 pounds for me to play with. That was where the conversation went down south. So dude said, give you 40 to 50,000 pounds. 4 days ago, you said I should treat you. I was actually thinking of just cutting you a bit of an amount for you to play with. So why are you now dictating and telling me that I need to give you 30, 40 or 50K to play with? Of course, that sort of exacerbated the conversation, right? So things got... Eric Powell, thank you for the super chat. She doesn't love him. He's merely an accessory to her needs and desires. Hard truth. But most Western women move like this. So, dude said, what the bloody hell are you talking about? And all that. Why would you dictate, right? You're my wife. I can treat you. I'm happy to do that. So, of course, she got really pig-headed about the argument. So you can imagine when argument starts, everyone starts bringing out their bullets and their firing points and all that. So he then took her on the mental journey and said, you have the audacity. I came to you to help me with between £3,000 and £5,000 so that I can start bringing in Nigerian food so that we can start supplying the Pakistani shops in the high street, African food shops here in the UK, so I can grow that. You said I was applying emotional blackmail and I was mounting undue pressure on you because I asked you 4 times. It nearly became a huge argument and I backed away from it. So now I told you that I've made X amount of money from cryptocurrency and you think I should give you £50,000. All hell broke loose. So he said, whilst in the middle of the back and forth, she stormed out and all that. And he was like, are you serious? And all that. Fast forward to 2 days later. He says, phone call comes in from Nigeria. And guess who? Father-in-law. Hello? No. Oh, hello, sir. Hi. Daddy. Akujameta. How are you, sir? Oh, hello, my son. His wife's dad. First of all, we give God the praise. All thanks to the Most High. The Bible says, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Said, I thank God for your financial breakthrough. Your wife shared the testimony with us. Man is thinking, what? Yeah, this thing that you people call cryptocurrency. Your wife said the Lord has finally answered your prayer, that you made £186,000, and it's even like a fraction of what you made. Wow. So the father-in-law, they had already converted that money to Naira equivalent, right? And the guy said, Franklin, I was on the phone, shocked. But unfortunately, when the father-in-law called, the wife wasn't in with the kids. So the man was like, yes, your wife said she she asked you for some of the money that for you to provide. You see the way they twisted the whole thing. The father-in-law said, your wife said she asked you to use some of the money to provide for her and your children. And then she said you instantaneously pushed them to the curb and said nobody can control you over your finance. And then the man and the mother-in-law in the background started applying heightened emotional blackmail. And the man said, oh, it's true what they say, that money does change people. So they basically are suggesting that, oh, now that you've made money, you sidelined our daughter. And there is one of the things that I hate in our community is, oh, she gave you children. Do you see? So the emotional blackmail is, so your then her dad then added, so am I right in saying that these are the early days of you possibly, considering another wife, since your wife has now become an expired product? And of course, this dude exploded. He said it became a massive argument over the phone. And then the man said, of course, he lost his cool. He said prior to that, he has never had any argument with his father-in-law or mother-in-law, just greetings, feel chit-chat, and then he moves away. And he lost it. That, where the hell did you get this from? And they were saying in Yoruba language, some of you might not understand this, Akodao, so yato fefi jomo wani, owo ti de, by ni sin, omo wa o adamo ko ni wulo mo. Basically, you've got money now, so our daughter is no longer useful to you, and now you think you have arrived. You can imagine. And of course, everything exploded and hit the fan. So the guy said they wouldn't let him express himself. They wouldn't let him, everything he was saying to the in-laws, they were picking and they were saying, oh, just look at the way you are addressing us. We can already see the arrogance. So all these years, you were pretending because you didn't have money. So, yeah, I mean, I will feel the same way, man, because I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But to me, that's a very dangerous woman. That's a manipulative, a vindictive wife. That's a malicious person. That's top level gaslighting. She's run off to her people. She has vindictively labeled her husband. She's fed them with lies. She's got her eyes, plugged into the money. And she basically just wants to destroy his thought process, do anything and everything to get him to give her £50,000 of that money, and more. It's top level gaslighting. So this guy said he was forced to speak to some of his boys when this got really bad, he said she became so dramatic. She then moved from their bedroom. She started sleeping in the children's room and said, this, let me start getting used to my suffering and stuff. Let me read this. He should have told his wife his plans, with her included, of course, in addition to telling her about the money. Bull crap. Now, I'm going to address that. So he said she moved into the children's room, became so dramatic, and of course, he started sleeping alone in the bedroom. And what she did, deadbeat cousin, I'm never getting married. So what she did was she gaslit him, her parents. You see what I'm saying about the toxic culture that revolves within African families? Now, check this. She took that information to her parents, who, of course, attacked her husband. They then took that information to this guy's family. So basically, this man, imagine his own parents hearing that. He probably, I suspect, he doesn't want his own family or anybody to be privy to whatever investment portfolio he's got. So they took his business now to his own parents based on falsehood. So now his own parents now rang him and said, dude, wait, your in-laws called us and said you made such and such money from cryptocurrency. Wọ́n ló pariwo owó báyìí, converting that money to millions. His siblings, his cousins, uncles and auntie, the whole story blown out. Imagine him then telling his dad and mom, yes. Forget the ongoing story. Everybody now wants a slice of this guy's money. Just within the two shakes of a dog's tail, his business is out there, thanks to a vindictive and malicious wife. So his mom and dad called. The first thing is he has to confirm, and he said, yes, I did this investment. Whoa. It became back and forth. So the dad, even he said in the midst of the whole back and forth, dad was like, well, don't worry, we will handle the in-laws. But wow, Olúwa ṣeun nìyẹn, ọ̀rọ̀ wa ti dayọ̀, àbí gbogbo wa nísìnyí ọ̀rọ̀ wa ti níyànjú. At the end of the conversation, his father told him in a closing remark that, well, don't worry, we'll handle the in-laws, we'll talk to them, we'll deal with the situation. But the truth be told, that we are all sorted. Myself, your mom, 4 of your siblings, and the uncles, everybody in the family have found out that this guy made X amount of money from cryptocurrency. So he said, let me read, somebody did a super chat earlier. Who was that? Thank you, never lose Forex. Why did he tell her if he knew he wasn't going to give her a huge chunk? He behaved childlike and petty. He's a grown man. What was he expecting from a woman, especially if she doesn't respect him? You're probably right. Schoolboy error. So everybody has bought a spot in the money. So this guy said, WhatsApp, phone call, text messages, every bombarded, all sorts. I must say, they got married in Nigeria before coming to the UK. So, but he said he actually took a free legal advice. I don't know how that worked, but he has reinvested a bulk of that money back into the crypto portfolio and all that. His portfolio is intact, doing very well, but he's only removed a bit of money and put that into real estate back home. But the truth is, the guy said things got so worse because somebody from the wife's family, I think one of our cousins, shoved his father when his father and mother went to the other side to have a like sort of appeasement conversation. So it got heated up, and somebody shoved his father, and things got physical, right? And so when he heard, he has moved out of their matrimonial home here, and he got like a bed sit somewhere. He actually, this is the funniest part. He said, Franklin, I'm contemplating on moving back to Nigeria. He said, because one of my friends said, before you get encapsulated in the Western laws that will drain you of everything you worked for, he said, I'm actually planning to move back to Nigeria. Always Saka. The way women on him, yao. Look, man, look, it's sad that you have 3 young children in the midst of this. It's sad because here comes a broken family. That arrangement on how they raise the children, I'm not a party to that, but it's crazy. You see, that's where the story ends. So I'm sure he will figure out and all that. Now, check this out. I've said this before. Finance plays a major role in every or any relationship. Finance, in fact, it plays a huge role. How do you test? How do you discover the behavioral pattern of a partner before you get married or before you go into a long-term relationship, with them? It's crazy. Sometimes you really don't have an idea of what people are capable of unless you're faced with like a test case, or like money between both of you, or a partner gets to handle an amount of money before you can then tell that this is what they're capable of. It's possible for you to have cohabited with someone for like 10 years, and then one day money comes in, or you want to do something, and then you see them, that part of them that somebody said you will know. Perhaps because a Canadian crypto guru died and $400 million lost because his wife know nothing about his business and password to his computer. We can have this. I get why some brothers will be like, oh, that's a schoolboy error. He should have kept his stuff to himself. There's a part of me that wants to campaign for, a good partner, a good relationship, and all that stuff. And let your wife know. But you see, when some men or even some women, people decide to keep their business under the carpet, up in the archives somewhere, it's because of greedy partners. I like this. Only disclose 10% of crypto investments and watch the behavior of beneficiaries. I like that. I like that. Money, the issue of money, the issue of money amongst partners, it's not gender specific, but it's crazy. I remember as part of the story, the guy said, on the father and the wife's family, they were already threatening him with spiritual attacks and all that. They held him tight with a false narrative. And he said when he challenged his wife, she denied that, oh, I didn't say that to my dad. So how did your dad and mom and family come up with that narrative? They should ask me. I can tell them all the guys that have been taken to the cleaners, then divorce, and you will be paying for her and a new boyfriend. My wife don't even know how much I have in my crypto wallet. I don't think people are truly viewing marriage as it should be. Why she could not be happy for for a smart husband, which is a curse unto herself. Women are emotional. You can't tell her without assuring her and expect things to end well. Sorry, but the guy's lack of communication started the problem. Should we look at it from that point of view, that is lack of communication? Now, remember I said he has an extensive history. That's his wife, right? And he said anytime he tries to talk to her about investment and stuff, she would say no. She doesn't want to be part of it. And you know what's interesting? Some people are like that. It's not even that behavior. It's not gender specific. So I don't think it's fair to say he started the trouble. There are some partners, male or female, when you tell them that, amen, let's do this, they don't want to know. They'll be like, oh no, I just want to leave my money in the bank account. No, I don't want to. Now, if you take the leap of faith and you go in that direction, and then you bring them the bacon, and then you win, you start bringing in money. They then turn around and say, they bring their long spoon and say, I want a cut. I've seen that severally. They will give you 1,001 reasons why they don't want to put their money in that investment. And do you know what? I think it's also fair to respect people's choices about investment or whatever they want to do. Do you understand me? But you can't really force people. Eric, it's amazing how the women on here are blaming the man for doing something good for the entire family. They still make it about themselves. It's insane. You can't blame the man. Nobody really knows how this situation pan out. People can change. Thank you, Joe. People can change. The lady is uncooperative from the beginning. It sounds like the lady did not expect anything good from her husband. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to... You see, when I was talking to you about the part, when he asked her for money, that he wanted to start bringing in Nigerian food and all that, into the UK, African food. And she said she had about roughly 16,000 pounds in savings. He asked her 4 times. And even I would defend her position. She told her husband, no, I want to use my money. I'm not interested. I'm not going to give you money. Now, some men will kick up a fuss. Some men will throw tantrums. We're going to turn around and say, oh, that's sense of entitlement. There are women that will say, oh, go get a job, go get your own savings then. It's her money. She can do whatever she wants. You understand? And I would agree. He said the 4th time when he pleaded with her, she accused him of applying emotional blackmail and undue pressure. If a partner is saying that, that means there is a degree of discomfort in how you're behaving towards them. They believe you are unnecessarily pressurizing them. Any sensible person would say it's not fair. You should leave them alone, right? So he backed away, even though he probably expected his wife to have assisted him monetarily, but he left it. He was able to get a better, well-paying job in a contract role, and he saved. And he decided to go into crypto. According to the story, he said he decided not to tell her because he knows that just like several other ideas, she would say, no, 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 no. I don't want to know about crypto. I'm not interested. So he left her. He took the risk with his own money. So what would have happened if he put all that money into crypto and he lost it? He lost the investment. More than likely, I suspect the same woman, if she found out that he put maybe a few thousands of pounds into crypto investment and then lost the money, the same woman would have turned around and say, oh, there you go. Oh, you're selfish. Oh, that money you could have spent it on your children. Oh, that money we could have used it for this and this and this. You've gone and lost all that money in a stupid investment. She would have 1,001 things. And she would have been justified because particularly they got children, they're a family. So, oh, this, you didn't tell me, you were selfish about your decision, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Right? And a bunch of you would have said, yeah, there you go. This investments are bad. You shouldn't have done that. You should have thought of his family. People have things to say. You understand me? Let's be careful not to become one-sided. We have only heard from, I have a feeling the husband never loved the wife and was waiting for a day like this, faulting her. Oh, that's ridiculous, Gabson. You have a feeling the husband never loved the wife. That's a made-up narrative. The husband never loved. How do you know? How did you arrive? How? That's a big jump. Phrankleen, I think the relationship has, at the beginning, the problem with money. Otherwise, if my husband makes that much money, I don't need to force him. My sugar wall will take care of the rest. Oh, women. You can't defeat women. Did you hear that? My sugar wall will take care of the rest. You blow the man's waistline. Oh, my dope, yara. Simple solution. You should tell her he has reinvested the money and he has lost the money. Dude is actually saying he's contemplating on moving back to Nigeria. The question is, how will you behave to someone that did not believe in you when you had nothing? How? That's a good point. We should give us some amount. He should give us some amount of money and forget about his marriage. The thing is, I love the thought process. Vindictive people like that, a wife that can gaslight you with lies and ran to her family to create a pseudo profile of a dangerous man, of a selfish man, a wife that can do that can blatantly lie to assassinate your character, that can apply vindictiveness. They are not, I'm sorry, they're usually not the type of persons you can just give some money to. People like that can go to any extent to take everything that you've got. Trust me. You understand me? A man, right, let's look at these hypothetical, right? A man has got to be absolutely dreadful, evil, selfish. You have a good wife, and I mean a good wife. A good wife. And, okay, you made a wise investment, and you made a truckload of money from cryptocurrency. Who should be the number one beneficiary of your success? Your wife, your children. You take care of the home front. Even if you say, baby, can you help me? I want to set up a business. And most men that I know, they'll cut you a check. They'll do you nice. You've got to be a terrible man, a really sinister type of person. Or maybe, to borrow that person's statement, you evidently don't love that woman, for you to turn your back on her. And, you know, if you get bulk of this, and, hey man, you sold a fraction of your investment, you cashed out nearly £190,000. Even if you say to your woman, here's 10 grand. First of all, 10 grand in your pocket to do whatever you want. In this country, first of all, take £10,000. Do whatever you want. 10 grand, 15 grand, just take. I'm that type of dude, man. A good woman, spoil yourself, do whatever. You understand me? Do you understand me? There is no a woman out there with a good heart. Here's 10 grand or 15 grand. Do whatever you want. Treat yourself. It's on me. Hoo-wee. She would be up in cloud 9 and cloud 20. She'll be absolutely ecstatic, grateful. And a sensible woman would definitely not squander. I say sensible, right? That's subjective. Not squander that money on ridiculousness. But then you can do whatever if you ask her to treat herself. You know what I mean? A sensible woman will talk to you about growing your money. Don't spend it lavishly and then you end up broke again. Now treat my woman, fly her first class, go on good holiday, treat the children, treat the wife. You know what I'm saying? But I suppose it's a case of one good turn deserves another. What tends to happen is, because I heard a while back the story of someone, a guy who had been blatantly selfish. He has a suppressive behavior to his wife. The woman had a couple of kids, had complication when having them, wasn't working for a long time. He was giving her crumbs. He was really bad. He was making money, but he was really selfish, belittled her. The woman came into some inheritance back in Africa. Huge, huge inheritance through the bloodline of a father, huge inheritance. Now, at the time, the man was facing brokenness. He was broke. Do you think that woman is not going to remember the way he treated her when he had money? People are not stupid. That's why it's good to be good. And suggesting that you're good, it's not also asking you to be stupid. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, the issue of money amongst partners is a bit tricky. And I thoroughly understand why some men have their reservations with women and all that. We've seen good men, actually. The selfish women have used, particularly the Western system, against them, took them to the cleaners and stole everything. They're dubious people. Trust me. And also vice versa. We've seen men who have taken advantage of good women and stolen from them. People do that. So I wish the brother, what would you do? Let me hear from you guys before I drop shutters on the show. What would you do differently? If you're a man or a woman, you make £186,000 from the sale of a fraction of your crypto portfolio, what would you do? Will you cut your partner a check? What would you do? Tell me, what would you do? Eric Powell, thank you, bro. Western culture teach them to only value a man with money. Then take it in divorce. African warriors do not get hitched in the West. Stay home. Hi, Frank. I, for one, would have given her a good percentage of profit and let her learn from that. Truly, I love her. Divorce. Better to be alone than being with a quarrelsome partner. You just have to know your partner very well. Build back home. I wouldn't have told anybody. A wise person would say, husband, can we invest whatever you're going to give me back into the same crypto? And let's see how much more it can grow. Thank you, Akitunde. Honestly, brother, I would have walked her along as I was investing. I mean, for someone like that, give her 30K and never talk about money to her again. For somebody like that, who gaslights the man who has done that, who has shown her hands, I'll say let that woman go. That's a very dangerous woman. If you sweep these circumstance under the carpet with what she's done with her family back home and threatening you with violence and put their hands on your father and everybody wants a slice, it's really dangerous, man. I think that woman would do something worse down the line. That's the end of my story. Thank you for listening. Let's keep the conversation going on below. Send me your stories to footchannel1960@gmail.com. I appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you, Eric, and everybody else. And that's my story. Season's greetings once again. Hopefully, I'll be online tomorrow, the last day of the year, and we can rock together, have a bit of fun. My name is Phrankleen. I'm the brain behind this platform. Give consideration to smashing the like, the subscribe button, and hitting the bell button so you're notified when I'm online. And most definitely catch you in the very next one. Peace and love, man. Bye-bye now.